Will be tonight. I'll be delaying that till Wednesday night. As for tonight, I think it's important that we understand the whole concept behind dua and supplication, and why we supplicate and what we supplicate for. Firstly, supplication and dua is a form of worship. In fact, the fifth holy imam, the fifth holy imam, الامام Muhammad ibn Ali al-Baqir salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, in a narration says, أفضل العبادة الدعاء. The best of worship is dua, is for you to do dua and to ask. In fact, it is not only the best, it is the most beloved action. Here Amir al-Mu'mineen says, أحب الأعمال إلى الله عز وجل في الأرض الدعاء. Not only is it the best action, it is the most beloved action to Allah. Someone supplicates. Another thing you need to understand is that dua is your strength. This is your weapon. In fact, in one narration, Imam al-Rida alayhi salam says, عليكم بسلاح الأنبياء, that to use the weapon of the prophets. And they ask, what is the weapon of the prophets? He says, a dua. In fact, it is a weapon. Every war you see that takes place, supplication is what makes things happen. Some people are fighting, but when you are asking for the assistance from Allah, ثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين, make us have this ability to fight in your way, give us victory. All these supplications are what give you this victory and this ability to overcome your enemy. Another thing, when I'm supplicating, I need to supplicate for what I'm asking for has to be something good, not something that will bring about my destruction. That's why when they teach us in supplication, Allah gives you the best supplication in the Quran. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Oh Allah, give us good in this world and give us good in the hereafter, and save us from the fire of hell. Keep us away from the fire of hell. This is what we're supposed to ask for. Something so basic. Do not ask for your own destruction. I remember one of the people I know, he told me that we were once sitting on the sufra at iftar, and one of the people sitting with us on the sufra, he said, Allahumma rizqni as-sijn. And I said, what? He said, oh Allah, grant me prison. Wal-'iyadhu billah. He said, why are you asking for this? He said, because I want to go to, this is what he said. He said, I want to go to jail and suffer as much as I can in prison to make up, to expiate for my sins. Why would you ask for something like that? Why would you ask Allah Azza wa Jal for something like that? Ask for good. Ask for the best that Allah Azza wa Jal can give you. One should not be too proud about asking Allah. Some people have difficulty asking anybody at all. They have this pride. You get those people, especially the older generation, if you notice, like, they always want to do things themselves. Someone says, help you, thank you very much, I'm capable, I can do this myself. The older generation have this. They have this pride. And they used to have difficulty in the old days. The other people, these kind of generations, had difficulty supplicating. They had difficulty praying. Why? Because they say, me, I'm going to put my head down for somebody else, for Allah. I'm going to, because when you're doing dua, you're in the hand actions, you're begging. You're begging Allah. He says, I'm going to beg Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm going to beg someone else. I'm capable. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادعوني أستجب لكم. Allah Azza wa Jal says, call me and I will answer you. I don't know if you've seen that book that a lot of people carry, that dua book, that's what it says. Call me, I will answer you. That's the verse. ادعوني أستجب لكم. إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادتي سيدخلون جهنم داخرين. Allah in this verse makes those that refuse to ask Him equivalent to people that are proud, people that are self-conceited, that their pride makes them not capable to ask Allah. It prevents them from asking Allah because they're too proud to ask. And Allah Azza wa Jal says those that are too proud, mentions once again He mentions ibadati, okay, from my worship, to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Those that are too proud to serve me, I will place in the fire of hell. Dakhirin, I will place them in the humiliated. They'll be humiliated in the fire of hell because they're too proud. Someone's too proud, Allah Azza wa Jal makes sure that He brings them back down to where that they belong. When it comes to supplicating, I need to realize who I'm asking. Firstly, when you're talking about asking another individual, you are asking a human being that is limited, that is not capable of giving you what you want. They can give you to the extent of their ability. Anything you ask for, it's to the extent of their ability that they can help you. Also, they are bound to the laws, the physical laws that exist, and that's how they work. But people like to use wasta. People like, I've got a good connection. I remember I was talking to a guy in the Middle East, and he was of a rank of a colonel. And he said, a lot of people call me and ask me for favors. Can you help me with something? He said, and a lot of the time I don't have time to do what they ask for. But their issue works out. He says, and when they call me to thank me, he says, I say to them, I didn't do anything. They say, no, you're just being humble. In other words, they want to give him that position where Allah Azza wa Jal is the one that is helping them in their trial, but they want to give the credit to who? To somebody else. Thank you very much, you're the one that helped me through this. And he says, honestly, I did nothing. And they say, you're being humble. He says, no, I had nothing to do with it. Allah Azza wa Jal is the one that makes the causes for things to happen. So number one, you need to understand who you're asking is Allah. Allah Azza wa Jal is not limited to these physical laws. He's not bound by these physical laws. Allah Azza wa Jal is able to do all things. He can make things happen like you cannot even imagine. Another thing I need to know when I'm asking Allah is to know my position with regard to Allah. Who is the one that's asking? Really? Think about it. What is my contribution? What have I contributed to Allah? Am I really owed anything by Allah Azza wa Jal? Do I really put anything in for me to gain something out from Allah Azza wa Jal? Am I owed for anything that I'm given? If you notice when you read a story about a couple that get divorced, when a multi-millionaire or billionaire get divorced, and you hear that their wife will receive half. And a lot of the times, why are they upset? Can you see why the guy is upset? When the recent divorce, the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos, when he was getting divorced and he had, I think, 130 billion or whatever he had, and he had to end up with only $65 billion. Why was he so upset? Because he had made the money. That all that money was his. She wasn't owed the 65 billion. So he was upset about her receiving something she wasn't owed. This is how I need to look at myself. I'm that spouse receiving the other half. I've done nothing. I'm just going to get $65 billion in my lap. I've done nothing for this. I just put up with this guy for a year or whatever, how many, I think it's 1 year or 3 years in the United States. that you have to pull through to make sure you get that full pension, to get everything. And you put up with them for that, man. And putting up with them, we're not talking about, would you imagine like Jeff Bezos' wife is not cleaning the house? You know, seriously, these people have khadam, these people have servants. They're not suffering in this. That's pretty much us. We do absolutely nothing. And Allah Azza wa Jal says, here, you can have all this. So, and we always want, but we haven't contributed anything. We haven't done anything. We haven't given anything. That's how I need to realize what I am and my position here. I should be amazed, in fact, that I don't suffer more for what I do. I'm talking about myself. We should suffer much more than we actually suffer for all the things that we do, the ingratitude that we have, the fact that we're not thankful. Subhanallah, we don't suffer more for this. In fact, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Ya ayyuhal insan ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. Why is it that we're so deluded, beguiled with Allah? Why is it when we deal with God, we act like we are owed? So when you supplicate, you need to have that recognition that I'm about to get everything from this Creator. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-ard وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم. Allah created the heavens and the earth. And then He says that Allah sent down from the heavens, He sent water, which was rain. فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم. Through the rain, you're able to get the fruits that you are sustained with. So all this process is for who? For you, for us, for me, and for you. Then He says, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ دَائِبَيْنِ وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ. That Allah firstly, sakhar. What does sakhar mean? Sakhar, He made everything subject to you. Everything is subservient to you. Sakhara lakum, for example, sakhara lakum al-fulk litajriya fil bahri bi amrih. The law of buoyancy. The fact that you're able to build this. Can you imagine? You see all these ships that are carrying all the containers. How you look at them? How the hell do they float in the water? All this metal, that law of buoyancy, the fact that they can float in the water, He made the seas subject to you. He made the subservient. They are within our ability to control them. The rivers. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ. The sun and the moon are for us. They're all for we are the only planet that has life on it. They're made specifically for which planet? For ours, for where we live. The sun and moon are for us. Everything is about us. And then He says, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ. The night and the day for us. That's in a set system for who? For us, it's all subject to us. Everything's for us. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ. And He gave you from everything you asked for. Then He says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you were to count up all the blessings that are favors and the blessings that Allah Azza wa Jal had given you, that you could not accumulate them, you could not count them up. And then He says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. That indeed a human is لَظَلُومٌ. Most certainly a human being is unjust. Kafar meaning a human being is not grateful, doesn't thank Allah. So when I have that realization of what I am, now I'm ready to ask Allah. Now I'm in a position that I can actually ask Allah. There's not a single blessing that we have that's not from Allah. Everything's from Allah. I need to understand this. I also need to understand that when I'm talking to Allah as I supplicate, Allah is needless of my punishment. Allah doesn't need to punish me. He doesn't have this need to eliminate me. I need to know this. Because God is needless and there's nothing that I can give in return. This is when you can actually supplicate. But if I sit there and say, hold on, I've been praying for you, I've been fasting for you, I've been feeding the poor for you, and I think that I'm doing this all for Allah, I can't ask. Because I actually think that I'm doing something. If you recall last night in Samahta Sayyid's speech, where he mentioned about those that give, he said when a generous person gives, a believer gives, he gives with the idea that he's repaying a debt. When he gives, he's repaying a debt that he's been given from Allah, that he's doing something, that he feels that he has been given this opportunity. He said, as when a stingy person gives, they give because sometimes they're forced to give. When they give you, they always feel that you're indebted to them. You owe me. One day you need to repay this. So these people, when they supplicate to Allah, they feel, you owe me. I've been praying to you. You know, last night I spent a good night praying for you. I did all these amal. I expect something in return. Whereas the mu'min is truly indebted, knows that there is no way they can ever repay Allah. I have nothing to offer. I am worthless. So I sit there and think that I've got nothing to offer. How can Allah ever give me when I'm hopeless? And everyone will turn on you and tell you you have no hope. Sometimes you'll go into the doctor's surgery and say, listen, the situation you're in is critical and there's no hope. Sometimes you've done so much bad in the community and society will turn and tell you what? There's no hope. Sometimes with your family, sometimes you see a married couple, the wife says, listen, I've had enough. You leave the house, there's no hope for us to be together. And that's the end of it. It's the end of the line. Everyone will tell you that there's no hope except Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal will always tell you there is hope. Everything in the supplications we read screams out there is hope. There is always hope. Even when you read in dua, Abi Hamza al-Thamali, he says, وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي تَحَبَّبَ إِلَيَّ وَهُوَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِّي. Allah Azza wa Jal يَتَحَبَّبْ إِلَيَّ. That means He shows love towards me, affection towards me. وَهُوَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِّي. He doesn't need me. He shows affection, but doesn't. You know, sometimes you show someone affection, you want affection in return. You want them to treat you well. Allah doesn't need you. But He shows this affection. وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي يَحْلُمُ عَنِّي حَتَّى كَأَنِّي لَا ذَنْبَ لِي. That Allah Azza wa Jal يَحْلُمُ عَنِّي, meaning Allah Azza wa Jal puts up with me. This is what it's saying. He puts up with me as if I have no sin. He lets me go. You know, sometimes when could you imagine like you're driving right now and you're going through red lights and you're speeding and you're passing by and every police officer is ignoring you. You do what you want, everyone's ignoring you. And no one even looks at you for a moment. No one even turns in your direction. This is how Allah's letting us live. We do what we want, He just lets it go. He gives you time. As if I've done nothing wrong. Allah treats me as if I've done nothing wrong. Allah doesn't do this because He can't do anything about it. It's out of His virtue, it's out of His benevolence, it's out of His absolute mercy. Okay. This is another thing I need to look at when I supplicate. And this segment is my favorite segment in the dua that we read every night, dua al-iftitah. When he says, the Imam, Sahib al-Amr, who this dua is narrated from, is the one, Al-Mahdi Ajallah Farjahu Sharif, is the one that who supplicates with this dua. He says, Allahumma inna afwaka an dhanbi وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيح عملي. That basically what he is saying here, oh Allah, the fact that you pardon my sins and you overlook my mistakes and you forgive my oppression and you cover up the ugliness of my actions. You know, my bad actions. How many bad things do we do no one knows about? Allah has covered up. That you've covered up these bad actions that I've done. وَحِلْمَكَ عَنْ كَبِيرِ جُرْمِي or كَثِيرِ جُرْمِي. That the fact that you, like I said, put up and you let things go, you forbear the big crimes I've committed, the big sins I've committed. عندما كان من خطئي أو عمدي. That sometimes these sins I've committed are from khata, they're accidental, and sometimes they're min amdi, that they're deliberate. I've done this deliberately, yet you still cover up and you still forgive me. Then he says, you've been treating Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The fact that you've overlooked me, overlooked everything I have done in this instance, what has that caused me to be? You know, if you look at Allah Azza wa Jal overlooking everything you do, أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك. The fact you've overlooked everything has caused me to become greedy, has caused me to ask for what I don't deserve. And then he says, الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك. That this is something that you have got used to. This is something that's become pretty much habitual for you in the way that Allah has treated you in this manner. And then when he continues to say in this dua, all to the point that when I ask you with this intention, that I've been treated in such a good way, that at no point have you said no to me. At no point have you looked at me and asked me for the sins I've committed. And you continue to give me. And you've never made me feel bad in any way. So I have the ability to ask you. I don't shy away from asking you, because you've made me feel comfortable in this way. This is what we are talking about when it comes to talking to your Creator. To have this hope when you're actually speaking to Him and not being shy in any way. That I shouldn't be afraid when I'm speaking to Allah Azza wa Jal in any way when it comes to beseeching Him. Not only that, when I implore my Creator, and when I ask my Creator, I should have a certainty that Allah Azza wa Jal will answer me. He will answer my supplication. Not only that I have a hope in it, that I should have a certainty. That I'm here to ask. And you are a Creator that has promised to answer. And you've never been one to break your promise. But I need to remember, sometimes when I'm asking for something, I'm asking for the outcome. See, sometimes you may ask Allah Azza wa Jal, I would like to become rich, or I would like to marry a certain individual, or I would like to have a certain car, or I'd like to have a certain home. The reason I'm asking for all these is because I want a specific outcome. I want to be happy. But if I ask for this amount of money, maybe this amount of money would not make me happy. I remember one of the brothers I was with once, we were going to ziyarah, and during the Mashay, he told me the whole time before he had left Najaf, he said that when I reached the shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, and I'm beneath the dome of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, I'm going to ask to be extremely wealthy. I want to be very rich. When we arrived in Karbala and I saw him in Karbala, I for some reason asked, what did you pray for? He said, well, I didn't pray for money. And I said, why not? I assumed that because when you reach the shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, you're in a somber mood, you're overcome with sadness, you forget about everything. You forget to ask for anything because you're overcome by the feeling when you're next to the darih, when you're next to the darih of the imam, when you're up and close to where the grave is, where the shrine is, you forget. He said, no, that's not the reason. I said, what was the reason? He said, as I was walking, I slept overnight when I was there. He said, I saw a dream where I was rich and I had so much money. He said, and the first thing I did, he said, I started going out, I started partying, chasing women, and I was living, he said, but it was like a real life. He said, I was indulging in alcohol, I had lost the plot completely. He said, then I woke up, and he goes, I felt so, when I wake up and he was sweating, and he goes, I felt like this had all taken place. He said, so when I got there, that was the last thing I wanted to ask for. It was like he was given a vision of what was to come ahead. Sometimes I may ask because I want all this wealth. But then Allah Azza wa Jal gives me a glimpse of the reality if I have all this wealth. What my life could be. And where I may end up. I may want to marry a specific woman. But if I do marry this woman, where will I end up? What will happen to me? And likewise with a sister that wants to marry a specific guy. So when I supplicate to Allah, Allah Azza wa Jal knows that I want a good life. And He says, but this is not the avenue for you to get a good life. The avenue for you to have a good life is through this path. And because I'm supplicating, Allah will bring me through that path. Eventually I will realize, I say, Alhamdulillah. And Alhamdulillah, I dodged that bullet. I was on my way down that path, and Allah Azza wa Jal pulled me away from that path. The first thing, tomorrow night, inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jal grants you all the night to keep vigil in, that you should be asking for is what the imams asked for. If you take a look at the dua of Arafah for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, after you read the supplications, one of the most beautiful supplications, as you reach the end of the bulk of it, right just before it reaches the final part of it, the Imam turns to Allah Azza wa Jal and says, Ya Asma' as-Sami'een. Oh, you, the one that hears all. Wa ya Absar al-Nadhireen. Wa ya Asra' al-Hasibeen. Wa ya Arham al-Rahimin. He talks to Allah Azza wa Jal in firstly that you hear all, you see all, your account is the swiftest, and you are the most merciful. Salli ala Muhammadin wa alihi as-Sadat السادة الميامين وأسألك اللهم حاجتي التي إن أعطيتنيها لم يضرني ما منعتني وإن منعتنيها لم ينفعني ما أعطيتني. I ask you for this deed, this one thing, that if you give me this one thing, I will not feel harmed in any way if you prevent me from everything else. But if you prevent me from this one thing, nothing you can give me. What is it? This one thing that if I'm given, I don't care about anything else. And the Imam says, أَسْأَلُكَ فَكَاكَ رَقَبَتِي مِنَ النَّارِ. This is what I should be asking for, salvation. I should ask Allah Azza wa Jal tomorrow night, and that's why we say in Dua Jawsh al-Kabir. What are we saying? Subhanaka ya la ilaha illa ant, al-ghawth al-ghawth, khallasna min al-nar. We're asking Allah to save us from the fire of hell. This should be paramount. The first thing that you ask for with regard to your hereafter. Then with regard to this world and salvation, we should ask Allah Azza wa Jal to hasten the reappearance of our Master Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hassan. This is where you will achieve the best life. This is where you won't have doubt anymore. You know, when it comes to the Eid and people are all doubting which day is going to be Eid, there's going to be no more of that. Which marja' do I follow? No more of that. With regard to everybody else, there's going to be no more doubts in certain issues. Taban, in the primary issues there are no doubts, but I'm talking about all these tertiary issues and these auxiliary issues where people start saying, why don't we have one set rule, one set leader? There'll be a leader that restores justice, and there'll be no more of these things that you read in the paper that agitate you and annoy you and irritate you, because Allah Azza wa Jal will restore the truth. Allah Azza wa Jal will restore what's righteous. Allah will uphold what is truth, and He will destroy what is unjust, and all the iniquities that exist on the earth right now will be removed with the reappearance of this Imam. And this is why this should be the other thing that you should be asking for on tomorrow night. Taban, I ask of you all, Taban, not to forget everybody that's around you, of your believing brothers and sisters, in your supplication. But take advantage of this, because once this night's finished, then the remainder of the year, like I told you, it's like pretty much in the Lebanese world where they have the Yom Ashur and they have the Falli. Everyone is out of the picture waiting for the Eid. This is the last part. This is the last part where people are going to actually put in an effort. So put in an effort tomorrow night and ask Allah Azza wa Jal that no one that is present here or of the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen forgoes this night before tomorrow with even a speck of sin, that they will be brought to account for on the Day of Judgment. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.